Bice is recognized.
Thank you. I want to say thank you to Secretary Austin and General Milley for spending an extraordinary amount of time with us today. Secretary Austin, I understand that the Air Force plans to begin phasing out a number of the E-3 Century aircraft in 2023. As you know, this is an important platform for command and control, target detection, and battle management. I am concerned that if we phase out this aircraft without the replacement of the E-7 online, then we will lose critically needed combat capability. I'm also concerned that bases like Tinker Air Force Base would experience a decline in associated institutional knowledge, readiness, and workforce proficiency if we can't transition this workforce to the E-7 concurrently. Secretary, can you tell me how the department plans to fill the capability gap of the E-3 aircraft if they are retired without a replacement in hand?
Yeah, so we'll need to manage the transition to make sure that we have adequate capability on hand as we bring on new capabilities.
But at the current time, we're talking about taking out E-3s before those E-7s are even being built.
Yeah, so, and there are other platforms and ways to give us the situational awareness that we need, and we'll leverage those platforms. But we'll continue to manage, the transition to ensure that we have what we need to be relevant in the fight going forward.
Are you suggesting that there is some other platform that's being considered to replace the capability of the E-3?
There are a number of platforms that we'll use to create the situational awareness or provide situational awareness that you've alluded to.
But an aircraft may not be it.
A number of capabilities.
Thank you. Like many of my colleagues, I feel that the defense budget, in some cases, inadequately addresses the threats that we're facing today. I very much appreciate the pay increases for our service members in the budget, but as has been mentioned many times over, the pay increase does not actually cover the current cost of inflation. That's essentially a pay cut for our service members and their families. With the recent technological breakthroughs made by China and the growing military budgets of our foreign adversaries, do you think the president's budget, which fails to keep pace with inflation, is appropriate and adequate to counter these rising threats?
This is a significant budget, and it provides us the capability, the ability to go after the capabilities we need to support our warfighting concepts and our strategy overall. A significant budget.
I want to piggyback off of what Representative Lurie mentioned with the risk assessment. And General Milley, if you'd like to comment on this piece of this, the conversation has really focused on military readiness and or military equipment. How much emphasis are we putting on cyber and space? I think that's a piece that in some cases is maybe being put on the back burner. I remember in the opening testimony, I think there's $2 billion that's being invested. But how much are we really focused on ensuring that we have the proper capabilities from a cyber and space perspective?
This budget is putting in $27 billion, I think it is, into space. That's just space specific, and then there's probably additional monies throughout the Air Force and Space Command and Space Force beyond that 27, and then I think it's 11 or 12 billion into cyber. So I think that's pretty significant investments in both of those domains.
Any comments, Secretary Austin?
The Chairman's got it exactly right. 27.6 billion in space and over $11 billion for cyber.
Do you think that $2 billion for AI is adequate?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Thank you. I yield back.